What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. If you guys are new to the channel, do me a favor and hit that sub button, hit that notification bell, make sure you're not missing any of the awesome content that we have coming out. And with this video, we are jumping into Teen Titans Academy with issue number 12. If you have not been keeping up with the entirety of this series, go ahead, check out the link in my description as well as the top of this video. It is going to get you completely caught up on everything going on with this series. And as many of you may have heard, this series will be coming to an end, with issue number 15 being the last issue. I honestly have to say it's probably a good stopping point. This comic has really fallen off since the very beginning. The entire time, it has been a tease for who is the new Red X. And I think last issue was the most disappointing of all, because on the front cover it said Red X revealed. And while they definitely hinted at who Red X could be, we never got an unmasking. But with this issue, we are getting just that. With Red X now unmasked, we're gonna see if all of Raven's visions, all of her premonitions of the future, they might just be coming true. Be sure to buy the comic, support the industry, and with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright gang, so as we dive into issue number 12, we are picking up with the destruction of Teen Titans Academy, because what we saw from Red X was a giant burst of energy, something we have only seen with the individual going by Brick, one of the students here at the Academy. And so with our Titans rescuing everybody from the destruction, and as everything is crumbling down, Raven, she begins to recognize everything happening. This is going exactly like her visions had told her. And when she turns around, the entire building has come down, and Cyborg and Changeling are somewhere underneath the rubble. And with a shadowy figure standing off in the distance, they currently have Red X tied up, or at least they believe they do. But with all of the destruction, with all of the distractions, Red X is able to make a breakaway. Nightwing telling the others to go help any of the wounded, and that he will go after Red X. And so while all of our Titans are doing everything they can to unbury Cyborg and Changeling, we have the Bat Pack who interferes Red X, letting him know that he is not going any further. Nightwing is not far behind, Red X trying to tell the Bat Pack that he didn't mean for any of this to happen, that everything just got out of hand. But the Bat Pack, they don't want to hear anything he has to say, with Matt coming out of left field. And Matt as an individual, we really haven't coined down exactly what his limitations are. But we know he can fly, we know that he's got crazy strong strength. He is looking more and more like a Superboy clone. And with him knocking Red X to the ground, Nightwing comes to intercept, to ensure the things don't get out of hand. Because Nightwing, he knows exactly what this is. And he tells Red X to take off his mask, that it is now over and there is nothing more he can do. There is no way to escape and no one is coming to your rescue. And so with Red X unmasking himself, we see it to be Brick. And while this is something that we assumed, what is more shocking is what he says next. Because to Nightwing, he says, "Hello, Dad." And this is when the Bat Pack, they start piecing it together, that it all should have made sense. Brick's last name literally means Robin, and though this is a fake name, he created it just to be a little cheeky. And so with them going over all of the information that they have on Brick, trying to piece this together, because some of it doesn't make sense, while others believe that it makes perfect sense. But Nightwing, he clears all of this up, and he tells Brick that I understand you are looking for some kind of vengeance. You are looking for somewhere to lash out. But the truth of the matter is that Nightwing is not his father. And this is something that they know without a doubt. They took blood samples from every single one of the students when they came to the academy. And if there had been a genetic match, they would have found it when they put it into the database. And so what it's looking like is Brick has really been tricked into believing that Nightwing is his father. Nightwing abandoned him and now has been turned against all of the heroes, more specifically Nightwing. And the person responsible for doing all of that is Red X. This is the second Red X. The Red X that took up the mantle after Nightwing. It was the second Red X pulling the strings the entire time. He was using Brick to get his vengeance. And he lets Brick know right here on the spot that yes, I was in fact lying. I used you, I manipulated you, I wanted you to get close to the Titans so that I could enact my revenge on all of them. And Brick was the perfect one, coming in all doughy-eyed, completely innocent, and completely broken. Red X took this, manipulated it, twisted his mind, and turned him against everybody, with Red X letting Nightwing know that he did the last thing he ever wanted to do, and that is to fail these children. And as fast as you can blink, we see Red X, he moves in on Brick. Pulling out his sword, he impales Brick right through the chest. And with Nightwing holding him in his hands, Red X is letting him know that this is payback. 10 years ago, Nightwing had taken everything from him. And so this is a down payment on what is yet to come. This is just the beginning of the revenge Red X plans to enact on all of the Titans. And in the midst of all the chaos, this is where we see Matt. He appears to use heat vision, sending a blast directly towards Red X. He is able to block it with his swords. And doing what he came to do, we see Red X, he teleports out before anybody can get hold of him. And now we have Brick, who is bleeding out on the ground. No one is able to open up a teleport to get him somewhere where he can get some medical attention. Raven is currently preoccupied rescuing what is left of the Academy. As they find Changeling and Cyborg, they get them out as quickly as they can, and with the blood spewing out of Brick's mouth, with it looking like he is on his deathbed, he apologizes to Nightwing, saying that he didn't know, that he is sorry. And now Nightwing, he has one thing on his mind. That is finding Red X and making him pay. And he also believes that there may be only one individual who can help him track down Red X. And what is transpiring is exactly what Raven has foreseen. This is leading directly into Future State, and the person that he is going to seek out is more than likely going to be Deathstroke. We know they end up working together. We never found out the reasons why, but in the Future State, we see Nightwing kind of taking on a new mask resembling much like Deathstroke's. These are the lengths that Nightwing is willing to go to take down Red X and ensure none of these children or anybody else gets hurt because of everything that has happened in the past. And so what is remaining of our Academy? What is remaining of our Titans? They sit here looking at all the rubble and they wonder what is next. Questioning if Matt might be a Superboy, he kind of shoots that idea down, and that's because he says his heat vision, it wasn't hot. And so while his powers, they are resembling that of a Kryptonian, he doesn't believe that he is one. And with everyone's heads hanging down, this is where Starfire, she gives a great and inspiring speech, letting them know that this is not the first time they have faced adversity. And starting up this academy, they all made a lot of mistakes. It is obvious to them now, but they plan to change it. They plan to be better. Billy had told them before he had taken off that this school, it needed to stand. And Starfire, she still believes that, letting them know that they will all rebuild. They will make it better, they will make it bigger, and they will continue doing the academy for children who need somewhere to go. The Titans will rise again, and this is where it all begins. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. This has probably been the best issue so far. We knew someone was working in the background. Not really sure of who that is. We are now seeing that it is Red X. Not knowing who this Red X is, we did learn the identity of technically our fourth Red X, which was Brick. And for me, the most exciting part of this entire story is that Raven's premonitions, her visions, they seem to be coming true. Everything that leads to the darkness, everything that leads to Red X being imprisoned, Nightwing eventually catching up to him going and working with Deathstroke, all of these things are signaling that future state is just on the horizon, and how the death of the Justice League is going to play into that is going to be very interesting. And it looks like our next story for the Teen Titans is going to be taking place on Earth 3. It's going to be entangling the Flash as well as the Suicide Squad, which also is ending at issue 15. And that's going to be a tiny little mini event, little crossover with War on Earth 3. Amanda Waller trying to take over Earth 3 using her makeshift Suicide Squad Justice League to take on the crime syndicate. And with only 3 issues left, we can only assume that they are going to be shelving the Red X. But now that it is actually part of the main DC continuity, there is definitely a high opportunity that we are going to be seeing something more with Red X later on down the line. I think one of the most interesting things that will come out of this, and if they decide to pursue it, is going to be Dick Grayson working with Wilson Slade. Because if Nightwing can learn from Deathstroke, if he can become nearly even close to as good as Deathstroke is, he will become arguably one of the strongest individuals to ever put on a costume. If you think about all of the training that he has had, everything with Batman and outside of Batman, and then add in some Deathstroke training, he would be dang near unstoppable. But yeah, let me know your thoughts, let me know your theories. If you have not yet, do me a favor, hit that sub button, hit that notification bell, make sure you're not missing any of the awesome content that we have coming out, and until the next breakdown.